what should actually be the very first episode of the Get a Fucking Hobby podcast.
With your hosts, Nahal and Destiny.
I am Nahal.
Obviously, I'm Destiny.
No, you're Barbara.
Fuck, not again, bro. I keep on forgetting.
Yeah, so this podcast, this first one is going to be a little bit of an introduction into who we are, why we started this podcast, and what it actually is. So, I will let Des take it away.
Yeah, so basically, we're just two boring 19-year-olds from PA.
Okay, Des is boring. I am very exciting. I'm very spicy. I have a lot of flavor to me, you know.
She uses that as a code word for autism.
I am not acoustic.
I would like the DNA results back, because I believe the contrary.
I believe you're acoustic.
Girl, the fact that you say acoustic is proof that you're autistic.
No, that's just what we call it, you know.
The people who are autistic?
And no, the people on my floor.
The floor for autism?
No, the floor in my college dorm.
Well, from what I've heard, you've had some other autistic people on that floor, so...
Yeah.
Y'all travel in packs, I guess.
Okay, anyway. Yeah, we're 19 years old. In terms of our personalities, Des, how would you describe me?
Do you want the nice version or the realistic version?
The realistic version.
So I would describe Nahal as smart. She's very intelligent. A bit out there sometimes. Some of the things she says has me stopping in my tracks and just questioning. She's very generous. You know, she's down to do whatever and help you out. She's very adventurous, which works in favor for our friendship. I think, at least. She's just overall pretty chill. I like her a lot. You know, I think I'll keep her around for a little while longer. No.
I would describe Des in one word, emo.
I'm not emo anymore.
It was never a phase. They never left. For reference, they were sitting in a black hoodie with the hood pulled over their head. So, evidence they also have a septum piercing. They wear a lot of eyeliner.
Not anymore. Not anymore. She's lying. Fake news. Fake news.
Very funny, up with the latest memes, trends, knows everything about every celebrity somehow. Likes toes.
What? No, don't be putting that out there. Says the one who literally has toes as her phone password.
And who set that password?
I don't know.
It was you.
No, it wasn't.
Well, it was somebody. Anyway. Why are you giving out my phone password?
Oh my gosh, guys. Her password is toes. It's probably going to be changed by the time this comes out. So, I mean.
Okay. And then, how we met. So, if you're asking me the story of how we met, it goes a little something like this. In our 8th grade, I was going to say ELA class, humanities class, because, you know.
We're fancy like that.
Yeah, which it's basically just the upper level 8th grade ELA class. I don't know why they didn't just call it honors, but whatever. Yeah, we were in that class together. We didn't sit near each other because the teacher arranged seats alphabetically, so I was near some band nerd kid. And at first, because we were far away, we didn't really talk much. And then the person that they were sitting next to the majority of the year left for a little, month trip or whatever. And then I somehow ended up getting sat next to them for, I think, some project or something.
I think it was a game.
Yeah, so then I ended up sitting next to them, and then because of that, we started talking more, and then by the time that person came back from their trip, which I was in their seat, by the way, just wanted me to sit there instead, and so it caused a little bit.
Let me just bump in here, and this isn't me being like a bitch to that person, being like, no, sorry, I like this person more, I don't want to hang out with you anymore. Our friendship was already on like a decline, and like, you know, we weren't really talking much anyways, and this person was kind of being mean to me, and it wasn't like I told this girl, no, you can't sit next to me anymore. Like, when she came back, I let her sit in her seat, but I think eventually it just got to the point where me and her were like, yeah, why doesn't Nikki just sit here instead, like, in the hall now.
Yeah.
We called her Nikki back then.
Because I was whitewashed.
Yeah. Call her Nahal, not Nikki. But, yeah, so it just got to the point where we were all like, yeah, she's gonna sit here instead. And even then, I don't think that girl really was too mad about it.
Yeah.
Because she was making friends of her own that weren't me.
Yeah, that's how it just is, especially middle school, high school, things change. So it wasn't anything too big. And then I'm pretty sure I sat there for the rest of the year, and then we became good friends. We were also part of the same friend group that sat together at lunch, so that helped. And yeah, but Des has a different account of the first time we met.
So the real story is, even though she doesn't want to admit it, she wants to gaslight everyone, we technically met in 7th grade. There was this thing called a Verizon showcase thing, and she was in it because she was, what were they called?
Girls in Technology.
Girls in Technology, and also she did, what was that group you were in? The little...
Tiger Techs.
Tiger Techs. But she was, like, involved in shit. Me, and this girl who shall not be named, we got nominated to be in it because we built, like, a 3D model thing in a online program of, like, a house or something we were reading a story about, and everyone thought it was really cool and that we should be involved. So they nominated us. Well, our teacher did. We had to write a book report and all about it and, like, put it on a poster. So we were sitting there, and the girl, she knew Nikki, and this other girl, who we also not talk about, so they were talking and stuff. And I was just over to the side, because, you know, I didn't know these people, and I wasn't about to talk to people I don't know. That's weird. And especially when they're all, like, in their group. And then Nikki turns to me, and she goes, "You're really quiet." And some other thing that, like, really offended me, but I can't really remember at this moment. And I was just like,
I think from what you've told me, you said, like, I think from what you told me, I said, you're so quiet, like, something about you not having friends or something.
Yeah, like, don't you have friends, or you must not have friends. Or it was something very insulting to me. And so I was just here like, what?
And I don't believe this because this doesn't sound like something I would say.
Why would I say this if it wasn't true?
I also had social anxiety. Why would I call someone out like this?
Once again, why would I say this if it wasn't true? This stuck with me. And then the next year, there were some people, same people, I guess they were having problems with Nikki, and they were like, "Nikki's a bitch, don't talk to her." And I was like, yeah, she fucking told me I had no friends and called me quiet last year. I'm not talking to this bitch.
Oh my god.
And then, you know, eventually she sorted out her problems with those people, and they're like, actually, you know, she's not really a bitch, she's nice. And I was like, okay, but still, I have no reason to talk to this girl. But I mean, you know, we'd say hello, or we have a passing comment in humanities, like a compliment and stuff. And then, you know, that girl, she went to a different country for a vacation and stuff, and we were playing a game, and it was like a word game or something, and I needed a partner, and she needed a partner. So we started talking, and I was like, oh, she's kind of funny. I, like, kind of want to be her friend. What the fuck? So then, yeah, we started talking, and then, you know, in humanities, more and more, she'd sit next to me in class, and, because our teacher, he was on something. We did not have normal classes. When I say class,
he was on a good type of something.
Yeah, like, when I say classes, we would be making, like, hand puppets of books that we read.
Yeah, like, literally, one class, there was, like, because we had some band kids in our class, and obviously sometimes they would...
Ew, band kids.
Obviously, sometimes they would have to miss class for, like, rehearsal or what the fuck ever they did. And there was not that many. There was, like, 3. And So one day, like, the three of them were gone because they had to do some rehearsal, and that's when we made the puppets because our teachers just decided, okay, 3 people are missing, so we can't do class. And then we also made tie-dye shirts.
Mind you, we had like 20 people in our class.
Yeah, it was not a small class, so yeah, he just did not care. And then we also had a tournament where we played pool and
8-ball.
yeah,
8-ball.
8-ball on an app, and then another tournament where we played the Google dinosaur game. It was a drug trip of a class.
Mind you, Nikki knew the people in our class because she had been like going to school with them for a while. I didn't talk to anybody, so while she was getting involved with all these tournaments and stuff, I'd just be sitting in the back of the class like, what am I doing here? Because like, you know, I'd been in higher reading like groups and stuff in elementary school, and you know, I'm very good at English and all, but I'd just be sitting here and like, I barely got a little above in advance in my PSSAs or whatever they were called, and they put me in the fucking smartest of smartest class, and here I am sitting watching as people are playing the fucking Google dinosaur game. I need to get out of this. And mind you, this is like halfway through the end of the year, and I'm just like, what did I sign myself up for? I should have just flunked the PSSA.
And to explain for anybody outside of Pennsylvania, the PSSAs are just the standardized tests in PA that they have you take in elementary school and middle school.
Fuck the PSSAs. Me and my homies hate the PSSAs. I literally got panic attacks from that bitch. I hope whoever created them is living a very sad life.
Yeah, standardized testing is not it, but, you know, this is the society we live in. Anyway. Our interests. We both love I'm Not Okay With This, which is one of the best TV shows ever made. I don't care that it only got 1 season. It deserves an Academy Award.
Netflix, bring it back or I'm going to be at your doorstep.
Please.
Now.
What else? We like baking. Des is a very good baker.
I am. I can bake a lot of things. I was going to say everything, but I can't bake everything. We both like Conan Gray, Taylor Swift.
No offense.
Bo Burnham. I don't like No Offense like she does.
Yeah, so, true story. The first time I went to one of Noah's concerts, I dragged Des along because I knew Des was the only one that would be willing to go, and I would just drag them to every concert that Noah does in our area.
Mind you, this is like a day or two, because I guess she got canceled on or something from whoever was supposed to go with her. And she's like, do you want to come to this concert with me? I'm like, girl, I have no money. She's like, I'll buy your ticket. I was like, how are we going to get down there? Because mind you, I'm freshly 18. She's still 17, I think, at the time. And so we took a fucking Uber to the middle of Philadelphia. And we're just like, okay. And so we went and we watched it. I was over here not knowing any of the lyrics. So I'm just standing while everyone else is like rocking out. And I feel so bad because this dude's like looking over at me. And I'm like, please don't like signal me out and look at me. Because then I feel bad because I'm not singing anything. And then he sang Taylor Swift and Green Day. And I was like, okay. He rocks out a little bit, I guess. Yeah. But I do have a grievance with him. I signed up to meet you for a meet and greet thing so Nikki could meet you. And you didn't even pick us, but you picked literally everyone else. Noah, that was homophobic.
Oh my god.
That was transphobic. I'm one of your kind, bro. Like, rude. Yeah. And then she dragged me to the second concert that happened.
I thought you were going to talk about the Uber home situation.
Oh,
first
yeah.
one.
This bitch. First of all, she doesn't have enough money in her account to get us home.
Because this is before I had a debit card or any other type of money.
So we're just sitting here like, how the fuck are we going to get home, bro? What are we going to do? We're 2 teenaged presenting girls in the middle of fucking Philadelphia at 12 a.m. Like, we're about to die. And so I jokingly put on my private story, stranded in Philly, lol. Nikki, this dumbass goes, haha, we're stranded in Philly. Yells that shit.
I don't yell it.
She fucking yelled it.
Oh, whatever.
And there's just all these people staring at us. I'm like, I'm dead. I start like making my final will and testament in my head. I'm praying, literally everything. And then our friend Kenzie really helped us out, sent us the rest of the money we needed to get home. And then some random fucking Uber picks us up, and he's such a weirdo. He was so weird. And then he, like, took the wrong turn or something the wrong way, and I thought we were literally about to get kidnapped. I was like, oh, we're gonna die.
It was a Lyft, not an Uber. I don't trust Ubers.
Lyft, Uber, interchangeably. I don't care. Same shit, just different name. Lyft, whatever. You know what? I never got taken in the wrong direction in an Uber.
My dad is an Uber driver. I think that should tell you, or that he was an Uber driver. I think that should tell you all that you need to know.
Was, not is. Should tell you all that there is about it. But yeah, and then she drugged me to the second concert. That one, we were not stranded because she finally had her license. That was pretty cool. I still didn't know any of the lyrics to any song. I try learning them. I can't learn them. No offense to Noah. I don't know.
You have until March 22nd.
I'm telling you, I try to learn the lyrics. It just does not work. I sit there. I like the Not a Love Song one, but that's not even his song. That's another band song with him on a feature.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I just can't learn them. Sing more Taylor Swift and Green Day, then I'll be able to sing along with you.
Alright, is there anything else we're interested in? We keep up with celebrity drama, as I've mentioned.
You mean I keep up with it and then I tell you?
I keep up with it as much as I can.
Which is not very much.
Yeah, but, you know, we gossip.
She tells me about world affairs and, like, things I should be kept up on, like, news-wise, and I tell her what she should be kept up with, like, pop culture-wise.
Yeah, so we complete each other like that. So, why we started the podcast. So, we actually had...
So, we were assigned to do a podcast creation thing in a multimedia class. We weren't in the same multimedia class, but we were allowed to, like, group together with each other.
We were in the same period. It was the same class, just not the same period.
Well, I'm talking about, like, physical class. I was not in there when you were in there.
Yeah, that's
yeah, different periods. I think I was literally, like, right before you. Or you were right before me.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Such bullshit. Like, I hated that teacher because of that. But, yeah, it was to, like, make a podcast episode and all. And we were like, oh, okay, we'll do that. And so I was actually working with a girl in my class to make my podcast to turn in. And we did, like, something about hockey or something. I did not get to choose what we wanted to do for that.
Clearly.
And then Nikki was like, well, I have no one to group with. Will you help me? I was like, yeah, sure. So I was like, you're writing everything about it and you're choosing what we're talking about.
Yeah, so me just thinking this was like a one-off thing, I was like, okay, what can we do a podcast about that's also school appropriate? Because we couldn't exactly just talk about drama and bullshit for a school project podcast. So I picked the low-hanging fruit of true crime because I was like, okay, that's easy enough. And I'm still kind of into true crime, but I was like big into it at that time. So for the first episode, I forget the case that I chose. I know the second one, it was Dorothy Arnold, the disappearance of Dorothy Arnold, which BuzzFeed Unsolved did a video about it, so you probably have heard about it. It's this like socialite in New York that went missing 100 years ago and was never found, just a classic case. And so I found it interesting, and so I did like bare minimum research, watching 2 YouTube videos, one of which being the BuzzFeed Unsolved one, and basically just rehashing it. Sorry, Ryan and Shane, but it had to be done. And yeah, we just talked about that for our first one. And then after that, we had to record a second episode of that podcast for the same class, because he had us do like everything twice. So we would do like the podcast by itself and then like some other things, and then we would do like everything together that we'd learned and like by section. It was like a weird format, so we had to do...
I just want to say I hate that teacher. I had a personal vendetta against him. We were actually enemies. Did that stop me from taking his class for 3 years in a row? No. I regret it.
But that's because he's the only teacher that taught the things that they were interested in.
Yeah. Dude literally crushed my dreams and made me rethink the career choice I had been dreaming about for like 5 years prior to that point. So, he knows who he is. Me and you got beef. We'll always have beef. You should have graded my stuff higher. I'm just saying I was pretty good. You're pretty sexist.
Yeah, so we had to record a second episode of the podcast, so we just kept the same everything and just did a different case, this time being the Tylenol murders, because that's also something I was interested in. Once again, BuzzFeed Unsolved did a video on it, but simple explanation is a bunch of people in Chicago in, like, what, the 70s, the 80s got...
I think it was 80s.
In the 80s got poisoned by tainted Tylenol pills and died, and then that was the whole thing. Still don't know who did it, and yeah, so once again just watched 2 videos on it, one of which being the BuzzFeed one, rehashed it, and then did all that bullshit. And after that we were like, you know what, we kind of like this podcast thing. We should actually do this because, you know, it could be fun, it could be nifty, it could be neat.
To throw in a little fun fact, the podcast episodes we recorded for that class, we recorded in my twin bed as we had just woken up, and it was like probably 7 or 8 in the morning.
Probably.
And we literally took, I think, Nikki's phone and just held it up to us while we were like groggy in our pajamas. I think we were half dressed. We're just like, yeah, so the Tylenol murders of 1980. Like,
I think like the one we recorded in my basement, because I think the Tylenol murder, have some memory of it being in my basement.
I don't know. I just know the one we woke up and we were like tired as fuck. And we're like, oh shit, we gotta record that. Yeah, so. Welcome to the Stay Not Scared podcast.
Yeah, that's what it was called. By the way, you can probably find some trace of it, maybe. I don't really know.
Go looking for it. It's cursed. Never again.
Go looking for it. I actually have a voice recording of it on my phone that I played just before we started this, and it was interesting.
Getting war flashbacks.
So, we thought about just keeping it the same and just doing true crime, but then we were like, you know what, maybe let's have a change. So, Des, why don't you explain why we changed it?
We were thinking that, you know, like, true crime is so overdone. And there's not really a tasteful way ever to do it. Especially with, like, a lot of people's families coming out now and saying, like, hey, we would prefer if you guys didn't talk about these crimes because, you know, this is still very real for us and it's an open wound. As it should be, and it's understandable. Like, those are their family members that had gotten horribly murdered or other terrible things committed to them. And so, you know, we just didn't want to cross into that line of, you know, possibly hurting anybody or saying anything from an ignorant standpoint that we don't know about. So we're like, okay, what else can we do? And we thought about a couple other things, and we're like, no, this is boring. That's not a good idea. And they're like, oh, well, why don't we just talk shit? Because me and Nikki, we talk shit every time we hang out, all the time. And so we're like, well, you know, we got opinions. Maybe people want to hear them. Who knows if that's true or not, but it's gonna be done anyways.
And I also feel like people just like general commentary on current events and stuff, which is also a lot of what we talk about, just like shit that's going on and what we think about it. So I felt that could also be interesting.
Yeah, but we're not gonna get like too deep about things. Like, if you want to go learn about something, like learn about it from a reputable source, we'll talk about things. But, you know, once again, we're still
we're just girls.
Teenage, almost 20 people. And, you know, we're not the best news source. But, you know, we're going to speak on things that we feel should be spoke about.
Yeah, so I think that's basically it for why we started. And then...
Oh, why it's called To Get a Fucking Hobby.
Oh, yeah. Well, you should explain this. It's your thing.
You know, when I feel like being a hater, or I see other people being a hater, or, you know, people just annoy me, I always tell Nikki, like, why can't they just get a fucking hobby? Like, I don't know. That's my response to people being annoying. Just get a hobby, man. Stop annoying me. Go do something. I don't care what it is. Just do something and stay the fuck away. Yeah. And why you agreed to it.
Yeah, and... Also, when we were brainstorming new podcast ideas, like, after we were like, okay, we're going to change the subject matter, because our original one was called Staying Up Scared, so we're like, okay, we need a new name now. And we were brainstorming names, and we couldn't really think of anything, and then Des jokingly said, oh, we should just call it the Get a Fucking Hobby podcast, and I was like, you know what, I like the ring of that. And so then it just stuck, because I thought it sounded cool and also accurate for what we're going to be talking about. So, getting into this iteration of the podcast, what is it? So, As we have said before, we're going to be talking about, like, current events, pop culture events involving different celebrities, just stuff that's going on, things we have opinions about, things maybe that are not as current, but things we still want to talk about relating to our interests. Just whatever we feel like talking about, really. And why don't you talk about why we will be sharing our opinions?
Because we're right. At least I am. I'm cocky. I don't know. I think we provide a good outlook on things. And if it's not good, at least funny.
And also, the last bullet point Des has here is called Girl Talk. Don't really know what that means.
Literally just teenage girls. You know, girl talk. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's basically what it is. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we're pretty interesting. I'd stick around. We've got some pretty cool topics.
Oh.
Why don't we give a little... Alright, so, future topics we plan on discussing. At the time we made this list, I had finally fully watched Stranger Things. Maybe we'll talk about that. Talk about our middle school years. I don't know if I want to get back into that.
We have to.
I have blocked all that trauma out from my brain, but okay.
I'll bring it back.
Have an unhinged I am not okay with this recap, because we have very valid opinions about that show. And, you know, I feel like we're the only people ever talking about that show anymore. A series of murders in our town where people were left in dumpsters. And then a pizza owner in our town murdered someone. This is labeled as Oil London, but Ollie London, fuck that guy. Literally the worst. The Love Victor mess. A show we thought we would love, but...
Heartstopper did it better.
Yeah. Love you, Mason, though. Like, and honestly, the cast themselves are, like, amazing. The show is
No
not.
hate to the cast. Hate to the fucking writers or whoever fucked up season 2.
They did not do all good with that. Like, season 1 was, like, kind of stereotypical, but, you know, it was good. Season 2 and 3, oh, what the fuck, bro.
I didn't even watch them because of how bad Des told me they were.
Literally, I was sitting there, and I'm not a person that, like, really hates shows unless it's, like, Riverdale type. And, you know, I'm pretty forgiving if it has, like, a good cast, and, you know, I like the first season. But I was sitting there, and I was like, what did y'all do to this? Like, I can't watch this, and I regret watching it. Our shitty love lives. I don't want to talk about this. My OnlyFans, go follow it. It's not real, but go follow it, I guess. The after movies.
Maybe by the time we talk about it, it will be real.
If there's a demand for it. Once again, the after movies. I hated watching the first one. It physically hurt me, and because I had to spend money on a ticket to watch it, because all the little girls in middle school wanted to watch it, and they were like, Des, come on, let's go watch it. And me being a movie lover and wanting to hang out with people, I was like, okay. I fucking hated it.
Yeah, we saw it together. It was a mess.
Worst thing ever. Toxic ships. I have a lot to say about that. Andrew Tate. Hate that guy. The Monster High Dilemma. Stop fucking up good shows and movies and everything else. Ranking our favorite shows. That's gonna be fun. That's a lot of opinions in one. Explaining the real Dan and Phil lore. Oh gosh. Yeah. That's all I'm gonna say about that one.
So if any of those topics sound interesting to you, consider sticking around. Consider giving us a follow. Consider you saving this podcast. Consider giving us a follow on the different social media platforms, specifically Instagram and TikTok. I forgot if I made a Twitter for this podcast, but if I did, apparently I did make a Twitter, so go follow that as well.
Everywhere it's Get a Fucking Hobby podcast. No you, because we don't want to get banned on sites. And if it's not podcast, it's pod.
Yeah, there's also a YouTube channel, so follow that. Just I'll have a link tree somewhere if I can link it, or just use Google. You guys are detectives. You can find it.
Yeah. So we hope you liked our first episode. It's been so long we've been trying to record this, and scrapping it and being like, okay, we'll record it, and then we never did, and it's been like 2 years now.
Yeah, fun fact, we had a whole other introductory recorded a few years ago, and then it just never got posted. I forget what happened with that, but it just...
Well, a lot of the information and just, like, where we were in our lives just got old, and it was, like, no longer...
Well, yeah, but why we didn't post it at the time. I forget why.
Well, we kept on trying to work on it, and then other things got in the way, and then it was, like, a year later, and so many things had changed at that point, and we can't post something where it's like, hey, we're 2 juniors or sophomores in high school, and especially now, because we're both graduated, so, you know, I thought, why don't we just, like, actually make one that's, like, kind of relevant to our lives right now?
So hopefully this one will actually get posted.
Well, it's your thing. It's being recorded, so it better be.
It will.
Yeah. Hope you liked it. If you didn't,
too bad.
Go get a fucking hobby. Cry about it. Thank you for watching.
Bye.